to tomorrow as the final day of Navratri. It's as we're coming into the final day tomorrow, it's a time to really re-anchor yourself in that presence of the goddess in your life. Whatever that may mean to you, it doesn't necessarily have to be the form of Ma Durga or Ma Saraswati or Ma Lakshmi. It doesn't necessarily have to be one of those images or forms. But allow yourself to really open to that power and the presence of the Mother Goddess. That power of creation, the power of nurturing, nurturance, sustenance, that lap in which we are all held and carried. Allow yourself to really just over the next 24 hours is such an auspicious time for that power. And also for the power of that vanquishing of evil by good. Which is a wonderful story. We'll talk about it in the coming days, especially when we get to Dashera, day after tomorrow. But that's an aspect of that Shakti. You know, when we talk about women's empowerment or women's upliftment, it's not that women need to be somehow given power, which literally is what empowered means. That power is there, that power exists. It just needs to be given the spaciousness, the honoring, the celebration to fully exist. And these days are ones in which we re-remember that where there is that power of the divine feminine, that power of the goddess, there's no demon who stands a chance. Like these days, it's all the different forms of the goddess and the different demons they vanquish. And ultimately we get to this final day, the Vijayadashmi, day after tomorrow. That ultimate victory, that ultimate conquering of all that is evil, all that is dark, by that power of the Mother Goddess. So again, whatever that means in your life, in your spiritual connection, it's a very energetically auspicious time. All of the holidays in the Hindu tradition, it's not about, on the 6th day of September, we celebrate this. It's all based on the lunar cycle and the actual energies of the universe, the magnetic energies, the astrological energies, the forces in the universe are what determines that auspicious day. So it's really an energetically auspicious time to let that presence of the goddess vanquish and conquer all of that in you. I don't like the word evil, although we use it to describe the demons. But when we talk about it within ourselves, it's much more just ignorance. The ignorance that leads us to be angry or vengeful or mean or greedy or jealous or, all of these the sins that we have, they arise out of ignorance. They're not that we're evil. It's just that we're in ignorance. And so we allow that presence of the Mother to really remove that ignorance so that we can live in truth and therefore in light. So grab hold of the next couple of days and really just allow yourself to connect with whatever the Mother Goddess means to you. Wonderful. So, starting with one of our questions that's come from our family that joins us via the internet on our social media pages and websites. And we'll begin with a question that they've sent in, and then we'll open it up to any questions that anyone here has. I am currently struggling with the fear of sleep. I'm scared of losing control of myself when I fall asleep and being unconscious. So the process of falling asleep is very scary for me, and this has significantly affected my quality of sleep. It would help me so much if you could offer me some words to get over this fear. This is asked by Bharati on the website. So, the foundation of all fear is death. Whether it's death of the body or death of the ego. So whether we look at fear of heights, fear of closed spaces, fear of the things that could actually kill the body, or we look at the fear of humiliation, fear of failure, fear of risk-taking, which harm the ego. It's all about a fear of essentially ceasing to exist. And sleep, that which I identify as the ego self ceases to exist, especially in deep sleep. In dream sleep, I'm still there, I'm just dreaming. But in deep sleep, there is no sense of self. So it's a very interesting fear because it's actually so counterintuitive since we need we need sleep to stay alive. What I would do with a fear of sleep is I would work through it in meditation. Because that same fear of losing the self arises when we go into deep meditation as well. You'll notice when you start a meditation practice that after the ego tries to get you out of meditating by telling you that, the coffee pot is still on, or, that email, if you don't send it, the sky's going to fall, or, some other disaster is going to happen. After that, you'll get to a place in which you're meditating, and you're going deeper and deeper. And then suddenly, there's this powerful thing that happens in the mind that just grabs you from it. In this fear of you are about to cease to exist. And I've had people ask, many people over the years, I feel like I'm going to die. I feel like I'm going to stop breathing. I feel like I'm going to just disappear and never come back. And those fears are ego fears. Nobody's ever died from meditation. You never actually stop breathing and die. You don't disappear and go so deep that you never come back. But that fear is really strong. So this fear of sleep is a fear of letting go of control. And I would begin to address it by meditation. And literally setting an alarm for your meditation And a simple rule that until the alarm goes, you are not standing up. That mind can tell you the house is about to burn down from the coffee pot you left on, and you're not going to stand up. That no matter what the mind throws at you, you're not going to budge. And of course, check the coffee pot before you sit down. Make sure that you're safe so that when the mind throws that, you know it's just nonsense of the mind. And then allow yourself in the meditation to go through the experience of loss of sense of self. That same fear will arise. And just be aware of it. Notice it. Just notice it. And keep meditating. Keep bringing the awareness back to the breath, the mantra, whatever you're meditating on. And then, before you go to sleep at night, meditate again. So that you are already in a state of pure awareness of that fear. So that when the fear arises as you're lying in bed, you're able to bring that same awareness to it. Notice it. And it's the same way that the mind knows that nobody's ever died from meditating. You just remind yourself, nobody has ever died from sleep. And allow yourself. You may have to literally be awake long enough that the body just grabs its sleep. That need of sleep is more powerful than the fear. And what that'll do is it'll remove the fear from inside, because hey, I fell asleep and I woke up, here I am. But it's better if you don't have to wait till then. And as you're going to sleep, chant a mantra and be fully aware that it's only the body that's sleeping. It's only the neural connections, some of them, that are going to stop firing. But you are not going anywhere. You are not the neural connections. You are not the objects of consciousness. Consciousness is there in deep sleep. But because there's no object of consciousness, there's nothing for me to be aware of. But just because there's nothing to be aware of doesn't mean that there is no awareness. I am there, but there's no object for the mind to be aware of. And just remind yourself of that. And slowly, 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 this fear will dissipate. But keep working with it. It's very important. It's important spiritually. And it's important physically, because you need sleep. So for both levels, just keep working with it. Beautiful. Yeah. Other questions here? Any question that anyone? Yes, in the back. He's going to bring you the microphone.
Namaskar, Sadhviji. Actually, connected to what you were talking about right now, similar thing happens to me. I live abroad. When I come here, I open my empty house, I get it cleaned, and I'm scared. I feel like ghosts are going to attack me. So I'm actually going and living in hotels because I'm not able to sleep at night. So it's connected to, somehow I feel like there are a lot of atmas or some.
Okay. Yeah. So here's what I would do. I would do two things. First, I would do something on a purely physical level in the house. Call in some spiritual being whom you respect. It could be a priest. It could be an energy worker. It could be a holy person of any kind, whoever you feel really deeply connected to. And ask that holy person to purify the air. There are all kinds of mantras in every tradition around purification, around the removal of bad energy, negative energy. Have a holy person do that. Might as well, right? Who am I to tell you there's no ghosts in your house? So first, let us at least have the official spiritual exorcism done. Then in your mind, at least you know for sure, okay, this has been taken care of. The rest of it is working in my mind. And what I would ask you is, what is it about your life here, about that home, that on some subconscious level you are hesitant to re-embrace? Right? Living in two different places, there must be, I would imagine, a lot of kind of emotional aspects, negative and positive, when you leave each place and go to the other. And what it sounds to me like is that there's some emotional aspects within you that are not fully ready and excited to re-embrace the life back here. You're here, but you're not really. Like, you're in a hotel, and hotels are kind of just by the day. So it's a very quick sort of 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out the door experience. I remember when I first moved to India, for the first year, I put all of my stuff in storage for a year. I did all of these things that were temporary in America with my home, my stuff, my studies, sort of everything was on temporary hold. It was all right there. Should I want it again? And I realized that I was living with 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And when I was growing up, back in the 80s, there were all of these really kind of B-comedy movies in which the same scene kept repeating itself in different ways, but those of you who are kind of approximately my age or older will probably know what I'm talking about, in which you have, for example, a guy or a woman, and they're standing on a deck at the water, the ocean, a lake, and they're talking to somebody on a boat. And they've got 1 foot on the boat and 1 foot on the dock. And slowly, 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 the boat starts to move, right? And now they are in a split with 1 foot on the deck and 1 foot on the boat. And inevitably, they go splat into the water, right? There were a lot of variations of those in a whole bunch of really not very intelligent comedy things that, as preteens and teenagers we thought was really funny. But I started to feel like that. I felt like I was in my own not funny comedy with 1 foot here and 1 foot there. And that eventually I was going to go splat into kind of no man's land, neither here nor there. And I realized that I needed to either fully embrace, courageously, 100% this new life that I was living, or I needed to go back. But that to do the kind of not really here or there situation was just metaphorically going to drop me splat into the water. And it feels to me in a way like emotionally you may be on some kind of a conscious, subconscious, unconscious level, having some of that when you come back. Oh, the house is haunted, I'm going to stay in a hotel. I'll live out of a suitcase for a while, means I am ready to leave anytime. I'm not really here. And I would ask yourself, after you've had the holy person do the exorcism, so there's no doubts, I would ask yourself, if you still are not ready to go back, what is it that I'm not really ready to embrace yet? And look at that. And either be there, or be here, or be in both places. It's wonderful to be international. But wherever you are, be there fully. You're here, whether it's for weeks or months, be here fully. Fully. Otherwise, there's no point. But it's an interesting psychological inquiry into what is it about being here that is scaring me and pushing me away. Yeah, great. Other questions? Yes. Just going to get a mic to you.
Namaskar, Sadhviji.
Namaskar. Can you stand? Then everyone can see you.
Yeah, sure. So how do you stay in present moment always? Like past and future.
The mic. Hold the mic.
Past and future, they just takes away the present moment from you, and you always want to be in the present moment, but so that you can solve problems, be aware always.
Yeah, great.
So how do you, in your life, do you remain in present moment always? Are there moments when the past takes over or the future takes over?
Great. So how do we stay in the present moment? Not going into the past or the future. Theoretically, and also how I in my life. So I still have a very, very, very human brain, human mind, human karmic package. I absolutely find myself drawn into the past, the future. But what I've developed over the years is a practice by which I can come back very quickly. I notice very quickly that I'm gone, and I can come back quickly. I go away much less frequently, and it lasts a much shorter period of time. And there are very specific tools and techniques. It's not just, grace that makes it happen. It's work. It's practice. Here's what I have found. My physical body and my breath in my physical body is the fastest, best way to come right back into the present moment. Doesn't matter where my mind is. If I can bring my awareness right here, lower abdomen, below the navel, into an energy center that we call the Swadhisthana chakra. Swadhisthana literally means the place of the self. Bring the awareness of the breath there. Take your inhalations and your exhalations from down here, not here, down here. And allow the awareness to be there. It is physiologically impossible to be simultaneously stressed out, worked up, back and forth, present, future, anxiety, regrets, etc. And to be deep breathing with full awareness in your low abdomen. Within 3-4 breaths, you're right there. So, and the best thing is you can do it anywhere. Driving a car, sitting in a boardroom, in a meeting, doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter what posture you're in. You always have your breath, and you always have your awareness. If it starts to get really bad, grab hold of your mantra also. And those two things for me bring me right back. But, as they say, prevention is always better than cure. So that's the treatment. That's when you have lost yourself, when you are anxious, stressed, in the past, in the future. But the prevention of that is living mindfully. And we live mindfully through cultivating practices. When you walk, don't scroll your phone while you walk. Don't use it as an opportunity to talk on the phone. As you walk, can you feel fully the way that the foot feels as it walks on the ground? Do some barefoot in the grass or barefoot in the sand, barefoot in the dirt walking. It's a very powerful meditation practice. When you drink, when you eat, do it mindfully. Whatever you're drinking, whatever you're eating, rather than, here I am drinking and I'm scrolling my phone, or I'm drinking and talking or talking to you. Be fully mindful how the muscles in the arm are picking up the fork or the spoon or the food or the glass. How does it feel as it goes down? How does it feel being chewed? Can you feel the juices in the mouth? Just get really mindful as a practice. And then slowly, 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 that'll be more of your way of moving through the world. And you'll just find that as the mind wanders, you're able to look at it and notice, wandering mind. And you come back. Just like you notice, rumbling stomach, or parched throat, anxiety. You notice it. And you bring the awareness back. Wonderful. Yes. Yes. Right. Jo khade hai na bhaiya?
Hello, Sadhviji. Today we heard you talk about service and gratitude during the Arti as two things to embrace for the higher path. And as we all know, good things come in threes. I was hoping you could talk to us about the role of forgiveness in our mental health, our physical health, and also reaching this higher path.
Beautiful. Yes. You absolutely cannot really attain anything worthwhile on an emotional, psychological, or spiritual level if you're holding grudges. Because that grudge works constantly in your mind. Something happened in the past, but you bring it into the present. And so you're literally ruining every minute of your life. The difficulty with forgiveness. Gratitude is simple and easy, no controversy there. Nobody says, I'm not quite sure I'm ready to be grateful. Even people who feel like they don't have anything to be grateful for, you can usually convince them that even if things are not going exactly right, there's so much to be grateful for, and they get it. Service, people get it. But forgiveness is something that a lot of times we hear, well, here's what this person did to me. Here's what this person did. How can you possibly forgive that? And this is where what I always remind people is that you don't forgive because what someone did was forgivable. You don't weigh it and judge it. You're not a Supreme Court judge. It's not about, is what they did okay? It's not about absolving them of the moral consequences or the karmic consequences or the legal consequences. It's none of that. Forgiveness simply says, regardless of what someone has done to you or done to others. I mean, sometimes we're angry about what somebody has done to our planet. Sometimes we're angry about what someone has done to other people. So regardless of what someone has done at all to you or to others, you deserve to be free. That is your birthright. That is your highest spiritual truth. And nothing disqualifies you from it. Nothing disqualifies you from freedom. Those of us who have been hurt, deeply abused, betrayed, cheated, harmed, there's a sense inside that we are somehow unworthy of that freedom until and unless somehow that person apologizes or the universe, gives them their due, like, yeah, when I get them, then I'll feel okay. Whatever it may be, we're waiting for something to happen to make it feel like we now deserve to be free. Whatever they did, you deserve that freedom. And that's the key piece about forgiveness, is it's not about waiting for someone else. Imagine that you're walking down the street and someone jumps you and mugs you, stabs you. Fortunately, they didn't stab you in the heart, so you haven't died on the spot. But nonetheless, they've stabbed you somewhere in the body, and it hurts. Lots, you're bleeding. What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to run after them? You're going to make them take you to the hospital? You're going to make them pull the knife out, make them bandage it up, make them come back and say, I'm sorry? No, you're going to try to get to a hospital or a doctor as fast as you possibly can. That's all that's going to matter. Get this knife out of me, fix me up. I'll deal with that guy later. File a police report later. Right now, I need to heal. In the same way, when someone harms you, with their words, with their deeds, with their whatever it may be, rather than waiting for them to come back and do something, rather than standing there, you're going to stand there with a knife and have somebody get, a photo and you can post it online and show the world what this guy did to you. No. Because you understand, none of that matters. What matters is fixing myself, clearing it, healing it. Forgiveness is the way we heal. It's the only way we heal. And so whatever happens to you, whatever it is that you're angry about or holding on, recognize that until you forgive, you can't be free. And Your forgiveness does not absolve that person of what they did. The law of karma is perfect. It will take care of them. You don't have to remember it. You don't have to hold on to it. You don't have to stay angry. So we forgive so we can be free. It's critical. When I first met Pujya Swamiji, I asked him a question about fear. And he said to me, "You fear because you don't trust." And I told him why I didn't trust. And I have very good reasons. Like, here's the ways I have been harmed, abused, betrayed. Like here's why I don't trust. Valid evidence that the world is not a safe place. Valid evidence that I need to hold on to that pain. Valid pain I'm holding on to. And Swamiji looked at me and he said, "Are you going to take that to the grave?" I was 25. He said, "Are you going to let it go on your deathbed?" "Maybe a week before you die," he said. "Maybe a month before you die." And I was like, no, Swami, I'm only 25. I'm not going to carry it that long, but I'm in process. And he looked at me and he said, "You're waiting for someone to draw the line. You're waiting for someone to come through and tell you you can be done with that." He said, "No one will." And he sent me into Ganga that night to give the pain, give the anger. So that's the teaching. He didn't say, "Oh, what happened to you is not a big deal." He didn't say, "Oh, don't worry about it." He didn't say, "Oh, yeah, that's, not so bad." He didn't say, "Oh, I'm going to wave my magic wand and make, that person absolved of their karmic due." None of that. But he said, "You deserve to be free. And as long as you hold on, you will be stuck. You want to get that freedom in your next life, on your deathbed, or tonight?" So that's the teaching. And that's how critical it is. And the other last piece about forgiveness is, sometimes I've noticed with some things, it happens in phases. You let it go, you forgive, you think you're done, and then something else arises and you're like, "Oh my God, I'm actually still, I got some anger about this." And you let it go again. It's another layer. Sometimes you have to do it, throughout the years. And that's okay. We bathe every day. Sometimes we bathe several times in a day. Whenever you need to bathe, you bathe. You don't say, "Oh my God, but I bathed yesterday." Like, really, again? What do you mean I got to do this thing every day? We understand. In the same way, we forgive, we let go every day. Beautiful. So, before we end satsang tonight, I don't want to take another question because I want to have a few minutes for a very special celebration. We are celebrating a beautiful birthday of our sister, Krishna Priya, over here. Let's give her a very, 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 very big round of applause. And we have a special satsang birthday tradition in which we sing happy birthday to her in all of the languages that we have of the people who happen to be here. So as I look out, I know that we've got many different languages. So we'll begin together in English, and then we will come into all of the different languages that are Here, पहले गाएंगे उनके लिए. पहले गाएंगे. अच्छा ठीक है, पहले ये करो. अच्छा, he's lit this. First we will honor her and then we will sing to her.